Okay, let's jump right in. Uh, why does my computer sound like it's running hard? Okay, let's jump right in. So this is simple character sheet of some various characters from that you'll be seeing in the first issue. Most of them are kids. You got one of the professors. I forget if I showed you this before, but this one is going to be kind of important. Um, and I did a couple of these. I'll just show you this one. Um, this one I did 2011. Um, but this is just a exaggerated look. I don't know. I was going for April Hart's father. April Hart being AKA Bright Eyes. So her father looks like a weirdo. um, and I know I showed you. Oh, page 3 is done and posted. Page 4, not sure if I showed you this before. But April is was here looking at the scarf, a little tear in her eye, and she turns around and actually gets younger and looks at a figure that's like sort of hit by the sun, like the sun is behind the figure and her face is sort of washed out. And this is April when she was really young, and we see the face clearly now, and it's her mom, and actually her mom and dad, which, my thumbnails are very sketchy, but essentially they're all doing a family hug, and the first words of the comics, and I might do this by hand, is Bright Eyes. And we see young April in pigtails, smiling from cheek to cheek with big, big, big eyes. And this is going to give away. I'm not going to go too far. I think I have up to page 13 here. Um, but I'll give you a little rundown of what to expect in the issue. And like I said, these are just rough thumbnails, but we see her parents holding hands. Then we see her parents again, and they're both cops. Then we see a gunman. A fight breaks out. Somebody gets shot. And that somebody is her mom. And there's April's dad putting flowers on the grave, and there's April with her shadow. And that's sort of what has happened. I don't think I nailed it down. I was going to say a year, but every everything can't be perfectly like exactly 6 months ago. I don't know, maybe 7.5 months ago. Okay, so we go on from there. So we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. So this is April at school, and behind her back, we could see somebody pointing at her and talking about her, and she's just walking to her next class. Then we see one of the professors, Professor Keene, and he looks a little troubled. Next up, we see this girl, Brooklyn, and April, and, and Brooklyn goes up to her and asks her something, and April goes, huh? And Brooklyn shows a book. They're in the same class, and she's asking a question, and April's like kind of pissed off. And we see Brooklyn's back, but she's kind of a little dumbfounded by April's reaction. April spins around and walks away while saying, "Screw you." Um, I could explain. Essentially, Brooklyn is a little bit of a punk rock girl, uh, girl with an attitude, typically, who is a bit of a loner, kind of like April is now, um, and not doesn't have a care in the world, but doesn't seem to care about a lot of things. But she is going to school, and she's never misses a class. So later, April in class, one of her last classes, uh, I kind of got the clock wrong, but it's before 3 o'clock, and it's kind of hinting at she just wants the day to be over. And one of her professors asks her, "Can you come up and explain today's lecture?" And April reluctantly says okay, and she goes up to the board, starts writing some stuff out. Um, Teacher criticizes her a little bit, but then the bell ring clicks. The 3 o'clock bell rings. Teacher says, "Hey, goodbye to everybody," and April just looks a little stupefied, but she starts to head out, a hand on her shoulder, and it's the teacher saying, "Can I have a word with you? Please have a seat." So April has a seat, and the teacher goes into his chair and says, "Miss Hart, I think you might need some help." And still later that day, April at home just falls onto the couch and falls asleep. Her father says, "April, April wakes up in shock. Work. Oh no, I'm gonna be late, or whatever she says. And her father, doing one of these things, pointing his thumb at himself. Don't worry, April. I took care of it, kiddo. And April is kind of shocked by that. You know, typically, her father has been pretty much like herself, a little comatose. And he tells April, I cooked dinner tonight for us. And April is very happy and also sort of biting her bottom lip at the same time. She doesn't know what this means, um, but she just feels very grateful uh, for her father to acknowledge her at all, and just hugs him. And her father looks a little happy too. And then next day at school, we have former friends of April, Sid and Nancy. I don't know. I may change their names. Uh, it just it's easy to remember. um, and Sid goes, "Hey, April," and we see April, full figure, just kind of looking at Sid and Nancy. No sort of expression on her face, and she just walks right past them. And Nancy goes, "Bitch," or some equivalent. I'm not sure how harsh I want to make that, but um, and Sid goes, "Clearly, April's still having a hard time. Um, we shouldn't be so harsh." Um, and Nancy just pulls the tongue out. um, then later that night, we see a part of the backyard of the school, and we see Brooklyn again, and she's climbing, opens one of the back windows and opens it up, and she climbs in and closes the window behind her, and we see April outside the school fence looking in. Clearly, she saw what went down, and I'll leave it there. The mystery continues. Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed seeing what's going to be coming up on Bright Eyes. Some of you have seen what I've done so far, but here's just a quick glimpse again. I should probably turn that off somehow. So that's sort of a issue intro image. Then this is page 1, which I really liked. This is page 2. And that was page 3. And so on to page 4 next, um, as well as Neon Eden and Blood Rights and Retro and Doll and a couple other things I'm sure I haven't mentioned. um, got a lot on my plate, and if you've been following me at all, you know these 100 days and heck, a lot of my career in the past 10 years have been full with up and downs. But I think I'm getting a better handle on how to run my business. um, you know, Going forward, things will definitely be much better, regardless of what I have to do coming up. And I mean, like next week. um, Currently I'm looking for inking work. Uh, Inking an issue would put me in a good spot. Inking 2 books would put me in essentially where I want to be, financially speaking. But if I don't get that kind of work coming to me, it's a lot to ask in a short period of time. Then day job is the solution. Uh, but regardless, I'm going to continue um, with my making comics and um, as well as everything else I do. The podcast, the videos, the blog, the posting art online, creating new art. This particular month, working on my Inktober pieces, which will be collected into a comic. Um, yeah, it's a lot to sync up, but what I've mentioned before is I want to get regular pages, webcomic pages, posted up weekly, and I'm sure I'm leaving something out, but you know the deal. I got a lot going on. Oh, the Hangouts, Artcasters, Studio Synergy on G Plus. I do those weekly. You know, Even if I do get a day job somehow, some way, I'm gonna figure out what day and time I can do those. Um, be sure to check. Uh, Jeff Lafferty will be hosting Artcasters Hangout 12. Uh, Obviously, a lot of people will probably watch this later. um, so I don't want to talk too much in the present. But yeah, it's, if you don't already know, 100 Days of Making Comics was created by Kevin Cross, who, you know, saw online a lot of people doing 100 days of different things. And he figured he started out specifically with making comics and inspired a lot of us to join the ranks and also do these videos. It's about spending at least 30 minutes a day or more on your own personal projects, regardless of if you have a day job, if you have client work, if you have lots of things going on in life. I think nobody's the exception. Everybody does, Everybody has crazy schedules. We're all busy, especially creative people. Almost everybody I know um, is fully booked. And I know me personally, I really take time off, but I will for a week. Although it's only half of vacation. I won't be posting anything other than my Ink October videos, but I won't be doing hosting the Hangouts. I well, this is my last 100 days video, so this will be done. Yeah, I won't be doing other kind of special art videos, or I meant to do the inking tutorial. I'll have to get to that at another time. Unfortunately, I just, you know, along the way, there have been a lot of things, along the way, meaning along these 100 days, there have been a ton of things that I wanted to accomplish and get done. I still have a long to-do list, but I am super phenomenally satisfied in spending at least 30 minutes each day, a lot of times more, on working on my own creator-owned projects. And, I think Kevin Cross, but I also thank, in a big way, Jeff Lafferty. Um, because a lot of things happened at once. And, Kevin Cross inspired me from day one of doing his videos. I've seen him do videos previous to that and always enjoyed them. I've seen him, be part of podcasts and do comic work, work on Monkey Mod. Um, but I knew it was something special right off the bat, and uh, I didn't jump on it right away. But I joined in later when I could. I forget what was going on. I'm sure I mentioned it in the videos, but I came later, and I'm so happy I did. But early on, when Kevin was posting his videos, and it might have been within the first five or so, I know I started sharing his videos, and I may have specifically shared it with Jeff Lafferty. I said, you should check this out, it's very cool, or something along those lines. Anyway, he was really inspired by that, by what Kevin was doing, and he wasn't going to do a 100 days of making comics, but that's when he decided to do his Artcast videos. That's when he, decided to quit his job. I'm sorry, there's a fly in the room. Um, Quit his job and start really making art 5 days a week and posting to eBay like he was doing sporadically before that. But he really knuckled down and went to make this into a living. Ultimately, that's what Kevin wants to do, is to do away with client work and making comics his full-time gig. He still has a journey to go, but Jeff is an amazing artist and had all his ducks in a row, and it's working for him so far. So, kudos to him. Um, and yeah, when I joined, I also quit my job, and it's been up and down since then. But I'm glad for the duration of the 100 days that I've, even though I was looking for work at different points, that I've done this whole run without having a day job. Um, and whatever will be will be. If I have to, that's fine. Um, I know I'm working towards a clearer picture of where I want to be. Um, but before I get into that, so yeah, so Kevin was rolling along with his 100 days of making comics. Uh, Jeff was rolling along with his Arcast, which eventually named Arcast. He and I started my 100 days, and at some point Jeff decided to start a Arcast's group on Facebook, and I thought, okay, that's neat. Um, I am going to kill this fly. You're ruining my celebration. Um, I joined the group, and after a little while, I suggested to Jeff about maybe, I like at that point I brought back my Studio Synergy Hangouts, although, I had real trouble setting them up after the changes on Google Plus. But eventually I got it, and I suggested doing a Hangout chat with people from the group. Um, and I think there was also something else to it. Oh, I wanted to like each episode, each hangout would be hosted by a different person from the group. Initially, that was my idea, but because of how challenging hosting can be, Jeff thought it that I should do it, which it's probably for the better. I know I still have problems with the Hangouts, and we're still learning stuff, and I have still a lot to things I want to implement as far as the Hangouts go. So then that happened, and I I also like because I was doing the Studio Synergy Hangouts and the Arcastis Hangouts. Um, it was also an opportunity for people from the 100s to become, to come onto the Hangouts, and all of a sudden we started having a bit of a melding with the two factions. um, and it's two different communities that have grown tighter because of all this going on. And at one point, I think it was after I started the chats, um, Jeff made me moderator, or was that slightly before? I forget. But I know for my part that I didn't want the Rcasts group just to be another random Facebook group that people spammed and or posted and nobody really cared about other people were posting. And I mean that's what Jeff wanted as well. Um, so I contributed my thoughts, and uh, we have a pretty good group there going, and I've kicked a few people off. Since then, Jeff has made a couple other people moderators, um, and yeah, I mean, between the Arcas's group and that community that's kind of really tight, and we had a lot of them on the Hangouts, and you know, um, we want to get on. We want everybody on the Hangouts from the group, from both groups. Um, and I've been really uh, watching as many of the 100s videos from fellow participants and commenting on their videos, and they've been commenting on mine. And I've shared practically um, all of them that I've watched. on Twitter, and I do the same on Pinterest. Um, and we've talked on Skype. I talked with a lot of them on Skype. I have a comic group on Skype. I'm doing twice a week now. Um, and it's just like everything we've added isn't an extra burden. It's actually something that propels us forward, and tightens our friendships. And I feel really blessed to know Kevin and to know Jeff, and by extension, a lot of the other people I'm really that much closer with now. Um, so there's all that, right? Then there's, well, why did I do the 100s? Um, in brief, I specifically tried a number of times to get my webcomic Bright Eyes off the ground. And it was, originally it was a comic idea, and at some point I decided I'll make it a webcomic when I found a webcomic hosting site that would post, I could post it there and it would be free, and that's the community. Um, but, I failed at different points. I had an ad for Bright Eyes years and years ago in an issue of Valentine, which is a creation of uh, my friend's book, Dan Cooney. But I just didn't have the confidence. I wasn't ready. Blah blah blah. Reasons. The best time to do anything is now, and the best thing to do is make your own creations. That I believe utmost, and uh, so I finally, like when the 100 days of making comics came around, it was just perfect timing. I waited until you know I worked my schedule, whatever. Uh, I waited until the time was right, not because I was waiting because I was scared to do it. I knew I was going to do it. And I have finally succeeded in in posting pages online. Actually, creating the pages and posting them online. It's not many. I keep forgetting how many I got. I got four Bright Eyes pages and four Neon Eden page. Well, six Neon Eden pages. A sort of cover, credits page, blah blah blah, all together. Um, so what? 10 pages. It's it's not. I guess if I was weekly, it's not. What would it be? 30 pages. But progress is progress, and I'm happy with what I've done so far. And the strips are black and white, and I'll eventually learn coloring good enough. I might just go in and color pages and recolor them later when I'm better, or whatever. I mean, I'm sort of tweaking the lettering I've done. Bright Eyes has been silent mostly, but mostly it's been silent totally. But Neon Eden has lettering on it, and I'm not happy about most of it. So I'm just gonna go in and re-upload just to improve upon that. But the pages I penciled and inked, those are pretty much what you're gonna see permanently, probably in the printed version. Um, I'm tweaking the production end, because it's I'm confident with my inking skills, not necessarily as a penciler inking my own stuff, but I'm learning lettering, I'm learning coloring, I'm learning how stuff gets formatted and uploaded, and how to make things pretty, and everything across the board. Um, The first comic I publish might actually be the Ink October book project I got going on. Um, and just briefly on this, Inktober was created by Jake Parker. Do a illustration a day or every other day or once a week. It's just something where artists can participate, and it's an illustration that you ink. Plenty of different combinations, ways you can achieve that. But I decided to make mine a story that I want to create a picture each day, uh, tape them, and eventually I'll catch up on uploading them. But that's going to tell a 31 panel, page story that, that's going to be my first published work. I decided, I have Arena, which is mostly done, and I get to do production on that. But you know what? This is my company. First thing I put out is going to be totally me. Um, and I wouldn't have that confidence if it wasn't for this 100 days. And this is not going to be an Oprah moment. I'm not going to cry. There's no crying in comics. Um, so anyway, what else didn't I cover? I don't know. I don't know. Um, yeah. Okay. Well, I wanted to get into stats and whatnot. Is I made 82 videos for my 100 days. There was a month I took off weekends, so there's 2, 4, 6, at least 6 days, maybe 8, right there. There was days I missed, a couple times, at least 3 times that I remember. So however that worked out, uh, um, it was 8 and 10, 18 days that I didn't tape a video. Well, considering 82 days is quite an accomplishment, and I'm more than thrilled by that. Um, I did my days in a row. That's how Kevin did it. That's how I did it. Each day, I put in 30 minutes or more, regardless if I videotaped it. Uh, a lot of times, I recorded, um, but didn't upload until like the next morning or the next afternoon or the next evening. Um, Sometimes I recorded like 3 in the morning the next day. Uh, Yesterday's video, it's like as long as I didn't go to sleep, that was still that day. Yeah, my schedule has been nuts because of this, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Um, since I started my 100 days, I think I went from, I could be wrong, I'm not looking on my YouTube channel right now, but I think I went from 3,000 something views to where I am now. It just went up to 9,000. So that's pretty incredible. Also, along the way, I've I got just over 100 new subscribers to my channel. Pretty damn incredible. And what other kind of stats? Oh, I just started. Well, not started. um, I guess right off the bat, I did covers. I designed the cover for the 100 days. But I gotten a little better at that. There's a couple really cool covers I think that I did previous to the 100 days, but trust me, those took forever. Um, al- Along the way of the 100 days, I got Mega Studio 5, which is I use that and actually MS Paint between the two, just because it's quicker. Um, Eventually, I hope to do everything in Manga Studio. Um, Also to size things, I use GIMP because there's nothing better to size artwork than GIMP. And yeah, I love to one day master everything about Manga Studio. I just barely scratched the surface. I think there were a couple of days where that's what I was doing, just practicing with Manga Studio. I did some coloring along the way, not necessarily drawing. I just have a mouse, and actually, when I'm coloring and using the mouse, I'm left-handed. I use my right hand to use the mouse. So um, if I draw anything using mouse, it's it's pretty incredible, I think. um, what other kind of things? Uh, well, I will mention at the moment because I thought of it that I'm doing a Skype chat tonight with the normal band of friends that are with my comic group. But I'll put it out there if you're watching this and you're really into what I'm doing, you like my work, blah blah blah, whatever. For whatever reason, you're an artist, up and coming, a seasoned professional, and you want to chat with me, just send me a Facebook message is the best way. I usually see those first more than anything else, although you can email me too. But Facebook message is the best. Feel free to get in contact with me if you ever want to chat. Um, I'm going to be getting back to everything. I dropped off of a lot of things, posting art on DeviantArt, doing my podcast, which is also up to episode 100. But I've been really lax with that. I'm going to need this upcoming week to catch up on a bunch of stuff, but also look for work. I am, you know, I'll do my sales pitch. I have art on my store. I will be posting more art there. I'm available for commissions. Look in the description box. Um, yeah, I'm available for inking comic pages. I have a set price, but if you have some kind of really cool project I want to be a part of, we could negotiate. I hate to mention that, but I am flexible, um, and I need the cash. You can become a Patreon. That's a little more of a long-term thing, but everybody could, go there and support me $1 a month, $10 a month, $100 a month. I have different rewards there. I think I actually do have a reward there. Um, but mostly it's, whatever you want to support me at, I'll just be eternally grateful to you. I put everybody's names at the end of my videos. I'll redo that so everybody's names are bigger next time around. Um, Eventually, I'm going to redo my whole YouTube. The YouTube channel cover, the video covers, um, my intro. I don't know, what else could you fiddle with? I'm a fiddler. I love to fiddle, and not music wise, but music wise. Um, I mean, that's what art is. We get to draw constantly and fiddle around from style and composition, and uh, I should not make this an hour, because I want to upload it on time. I said I would post at 3, and I know this is going to take forever, especially uploading during the day. I'm kind of scared that it's going to be late. What haven't I talked about? Just, big love to everybody who has checked out the videos, who has subscribed to my channel, who has bought anything of mine, who has commented on my posts, liked my posts, shared my work. A lot of people have been sharing my videos. I thank you so, so much. Um, I'm super connected with everybody, but you know how, like, things get lost so easily online. So the more people that share the stuff, the more people that will see what I'm up to. And I promise you, I'm going to be getting into a schedule a week from now that will be standard, um, with bonuses along the way. So you'll start to see my rhythm, and I hope to do everything all at once, but that greatly depends on if I'm going to have a day job, or if I'm going to be buried in client work, or what have you. I will be doing everything. Um, if it's not weekly, then it may be all within 2 weeks or 3 weeks time, 3 week cycle, and so on and so forth. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Cross your fingers for me. I'm going to do a better job at working my business coming up. So I hope that works in my favor. You could bust your ass and not see any signs for a long, long time, but I'm willing to hang in there and put in the hard work. If not for nothing, but I have a huge work ethic, and I try really hard at everything I do. So, um, yeah. So big love to Kevin, to Jeff, to all my Artcasters friends, to all my THEE100 friends, to all my friends around the world who follow me, uh, either every single post and day, or here and there. I know I see comments from people all around the world, and while my YouTube may have not have reached global expansion yet, I think it's mostly focused in the United States. Um, I'm pushing. I'm pushing for it to be worldwide. I am Peter Palmiotti. My studio is Human Art Studio, and I make comics and connect with people, artists and whatnot, through interviews and hangouts, through my blog, and make art, you know, that I love. I am an artist. I am a writer. I love comic books. I love movies and video games and all the stuff I don't have time for. Um, Stick with me, and if some reason you're new, then please subscribe. I love each and every one of you that do, and I'll see you in a week. Comment, I'll comment back. I'm not totally disappearing. I'm still here. So bless every one of you. Uh, I'll see you soon. Thank you.